Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. I want to get to the latest in the federal sex trafficking and racketeering case against Sean Diddy Combs. According to his attorney, Diddy, who's now off suicide watch, believes he's innocent of the charges, which could land him in federal prison for the rest of his natural life. In fact, the attorney, Mark Agnifilio, said in a recent appearance on a TMZ documentary that Diddy will refuse to take a plea bargain in the case. The lawyer also says Diddy plans to use the case to inspire others' federal prosecution. And he wants to show his family that he's not who the feds are portraying him to be. Really? Well, let me just say this. There's a video, you know? I mean, when you make a statement like that, okay, you know, the sex trafficking, okay, there's plausible deniability. They got to prove you're innocent until proven guilty. The racketeering, you're innocent until proven guilty. Treating Bad Boy Entertainment as if it's a prostitution ring, for crying out loud. Yeah, you got to prove all of that. But when you say that I just want my family and everybody to know I'm not who the feds portray me to be, well, what about what the video portrayed you to be? Cassie Ventura, a hotel, the hallway, you running down there in a towel half butt naked before grabbing her, throwing her to the ground, kicking her, hitting her, throwing a vase at her. Remember all of that? That's not the exact quote that the attorney should have came out with. Let's just say that. That's number one. Number two, talk about suicide watch. Supposedly, they usually put you on watch because obviously getting incarcerated is usually a shock to the system, particularly with well-known figures who live an affluent life and are accustomed to having means, and suddenly the gravity of being in a completely different situation is striking to the emotions, the nerves, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the bottom line. None of this really matters at this point. I know we're going to bring up the Jeffrey Epsteins in the world and how he died in a prison cell. I know the conspiracy theories that have been out there about how he was harmed as opposed to harming himself, even though the official record says he harmed himself and he committed suicide. In the end, when you look at Diddy, the feds are clearly after him, but the question still remains, are they willing to make a deal so they could get him to dime out others? When we look at Suge Knight and what Suge Knight said, he talked about Diddy potentially diming out others and how the feds ultimately would want that to happen. I can't imagine that the feds ain't going to want that to happen, considering all the people that have attended Diddy parties, that have attended Diddy after parties, that were considered his friends, his inner circle, his close confidants. But we also got to pay attention to this too. What the industry portends, what the industry indicates it's all about. See, these are the kind of moments where stuff can come back to haunt you. People want to sit up there and summarily dismiss, oh, you using incendiary rhetoric or misogynistic rhetoric or whatever the case may be in your music, in your lyrics, have no kind of impact. Sure, in most instances, until you're in a court of law and they get to use stuff against you. Because when they're making the case against you and they're salivating for witnesses and they're salivating for evidence to further incriminate you to make their case, particularly when you're the Southern District of New York, which we had Ellie Honig, a CNN legal analyst, come on this show and say has a record that betters 80% plus in terms of their conviction rate, you got yourself in a bind. And that's the situation involving Diddy right now. So being on suicide watch, off suicide watch, okay, those are storylines. Is he there to be gotten by the feds, or do they want to utilize him to get even more people? That remains to be seen. But in the end, he was denied bail not just once, but twice. And this is a person that contributed heavily to the Democratic Party. And you're wondering, where are the connections now? Who was there to help him? Did everybody run away? And if so, why? Because the belief is there's a strong level of guilt attached to it. Now, the court of law will prove it. But when you consider that a man is worth over $500 million and was very politically conscientious in his own right, as an election draws near, with some of the connections one would surmise he has, and still nothing seems to be able to be done to help him at this particular moment in time, it does appear to be a very, very, very bad situation. Suicide watch or no suicide watch, one way or another, it's looking more and more daunting with each passing day that he's ever going to see freedom again. I don't know. If the man is guilty, he should be in jail. If he's not guilty, I hope that he's not in jail. It just looks very, very bad and very daunting right now. Hell, if we could sit up here and say it looks bad for Mayor Eric Adams of New York City, and that's just for taking stuff, allegedly taking stuff from a Turkish government, then we can't sit up here and act like it doesn't look considerably bad for P. Diddy.